All right, let's talk about essays. You know, that word that can sometimes make us all feel a little bit stressed? Well, we're going to change that today. Forget the fear and think of it like this. You're a builder, and I'm about to hand you an entire toolkit for writing. So, let's get into it. You know that feeling, right? That blinking cursor on a blank white screen? It can feel like you're staring at a brick wall. It's totally universal. But what if I told you that breaking through that wall is just a matter of knowing which tool to grab first? So let's rewind for a second. The word essay actually comes from a French word that means to try or to attempt. See? It's not about having the perfect, final answer. It's an exploration. It's your chance to wrestle with an idea and see where it takes you. Honestly, just thinking of it that way is a total game changer. It's about the journey, not just the destination. Okay, so here's our plan. We'll kick things off with a universal blueprint that works for pretty much any essay. Then we'll open up the toolkit and look at two trays of tools, the first for informing and describing, and the second for analyzing and persuading. And we'll wrap it all up by figuring out how to pick the perfect tool for whatever you're trying to build. Every great structure needs a solid foundation, right? Well, essays are no different. So let's talk about the universal blueprint. These are the core, non-negotiable parts that make up the skeleton of any strong essay you'll ever write. It really boils down to three main pillars. First up, the introduction. Its job is to grab your reader, tell them what you're talking about, and, this is the big one, state your thesis. That's your main argument. Then you've got your body paragraphs. This is the heart of the essay, where you dedicate each paragraph to making a single point and backing it up with solid evidence. And finally, the conclusion. You just summarize your points, restate your thesis in a new way, and leave the reader with something to think about. Simple as that. And beyond those three pillars, here's a quick mental checklist for you. Is my main point, my thesis, super clear? Am I actually proving what I'm saying with good evidence? Does it all flow logically? And maybe most importantly, who am I writing this for, and why? These are the nuts and bolts that hold the whole thing together. Okay, blueprint down. Now for the fun part. Let's open up that toolkit. This first set of tools is all about sharing. You'll use these when your main goal is to paint a picture for your reader, share a personal story, or just explain something as clearly as possible. First tool out of the box, the descriptive essay. With this one, you're an artist, but instead of paint, you're using words. Your entire goal is to make the reader feel like they are right there with you, seeing, hearing, and feeling what you're describing. You're trying to immerse them completely. So how do you pull that off? Well, you lean heavily on sensory details. What did it smell like, sound like? You also use creative comparisons, similes, and metaphors to make your writing pop. All of this works together to create one dominant feeling, one main impression that really sticks with your reader. Next up, let's grab the narrative essay. This tool is all about telling a story. But here's the crucial difference. A great narrative essay isn't just a list of things that happened. It has a point. It has a so what moment, a lesson or an insight that came out of that experience. You're basically using all the classic storytelling ingredients, a plot, characters, a setting, and it's usually told from your I perspective. You're taking the reader on a journey with you, and by the end, both you and the reader should understand the larger meaning behind it all. It's your story, but with a universal lesson. The last tool in this set is the expository essay. This is your straight-up, no-frills explainer. Think of it like a Wikipedia article or a how-to guide. Its only job is to inform the reader about a topic, logically and factually, without injecting any of your own opinions. The keyword here is objective. These essays are built on a solid foundation of facts, statistics, and clear examples. The writer's voice is almost invisible. You're just a neutral guide laying out the information in a clear, logical way so the reader can easily understand it. All right, let's move on to the second tray in our toolkit. These are the power tools. You pull these out when you need to do more than just share info. These are for digging deep, for taking things apart to see how they work, and for convincing people to see the world your way. So, first up, the analytical essay. If an expository essay answers the what questions, an analytical essay is all about answering how and why. You're basically playing detective. You take a subject, like a movie or a book, and you take it apart to figure out how all the pieces work together to create meaning. To do this, you break your subject down into its essential parts. Maybe that's the symbolism in a poem or the camera work in a film. Then you build a case for what it all means. And where do you get your proof? straight from the source itself. You're using direct quotes or specific examples as your evidence, your fingerprints, to support your interpretation. Next, the persuasive essay. The goal here is crystal clear. You want to get the reader to come over to your side. You're taking a stand and making a case. And you're not just using facts, you're also using carefully chosen language and emotional appeal to really win them over. Now, people mix up persuasive and argumentative essays all the time, but the difference is huge. Think of it this way. A persuasive essay is like a lawyer's closing argument. It uses both logic and emotion to sway the jury. An argumentative essay is more like a scientific paper. It relies almost entirely on cold, hard evidence to prove that a claim is correct. So let's make it official. Our final tool is the argumentative essay. Its whole mission is to prove a debatable claim using a fortress of factual, verifiable evidence. We're talking data, stats, expert opinions, things that exist completely outside of your personal feelings. A strong argumentative essay always starts with a claim that someone could disagree with. Then you build an airtight case for it using facts. But here's a really important part. You also have to address the other side. You anticipate their arguments, and then you systematically take them apart, showing why your position is the stronger one. Phew! Okay, we've got our blueprint. We've unpacked every single tool in the kit. So now we get to the most important question of all. How do you actually know which one to use for the job? It all comes down to your purpose. This table right here, this is your ultimate cheat sheet. Before you start writing, just ask yourself one question. What am I really trying to do? Do I want my reader to feel an experience? You need a descriptive essay. Do I need to prove my point beyond a shadow of a doubt? Go for the argumentative essay. Knowing your goal makes the choice easy. And just remember, there's no such thing as a best type of essay. It's all about picking the right tool for the job. Knowing the difference between these types gives you the power and the flexibility to tackle any idea, any assignment with confidence. So we started with that scary blank page, and now you have a complete writer's toolkit at your disposal. You've got the blueprint, you've got all the tools. So I guess the only question left is, what amazing things are you going to build with them?